Hola amigos y amigas, bienvenidos nuevamente a este espacio. Estamos acompañados por el IWGP World Heavyweight Champion de New Japan, Zack Sabre Jr., the frontman of TMDK. Hi Zack.
Hola.
Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Vientos.
It's a pleasure to be here. We are actually at the Tokyo Dome. Zack just competed back-to-back in the main event. He just not only debuted at the main event of the Tokyo Dome, he had 2 matches, 2 successful defenses, and we want to do some questions to you. Are you ready?
Give me your questions.
Perfect. It's been a crazy stretch in your career. You had amazing months, performing outstandingly, getting some great achievements. You won the G1 Climax during last year's summer. Then you break the protocol, challenge for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at King of Pro Wrestling, which is kind of symbolic because you won the top prize in New Japan for the first time, and at the event that is called King of Pro Wrestling, so you became the King of Pro Wrestling.
I hadn't actually thought about that. You're good at your job, aren't you?
So how do you feel leaving that first big title shot and that big title win?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, I think up until this weekend, obviously winning the IWGP World title for the first time, was by far the biggest achievement of my career. Ryogoku is a very special place to me. I think it's the most unique and remarkable venue that's used for wrestling in the world. I've been obviously incredibly fortunate this year to wrestle in Arena Mexico for the first time. Wembley Stadium, there's a plethora of really incredible wrestling buildings, but for me, even more than Korakuen, I think Ryogoku just has something that feels very sacred. So yeah, to be able to win the title, to be able to win the G1 and the title there was definitely much more important to me than to challenge at the Dome this weekend. And I think about reaching the top. This was all about reaching the top of New Japan. So I think an achievement that is unique to me is being able to walk into the Dome as champion already and then leave as champion. Rather than using my G1 challenge for the Tokyo Dome. And I also think this is like a fresh period for New Japan. I've been a New Japan fan since before I even started wrestling, and most of the time that I was watching New Japan, the G1 winner would challenge pretty immediately after. That's much more of a recent sort of aspect of it. So I was never tied to the idea that the G1 winner has to challenge at the Tokyo Dome. And I do think objectively, I think the autumn for New Japan was much more interesting for it. I mean, of course, there's some aspect that perhaps winning the belt for the first time at the Dome would have been, perhaps more symbolic. But for me, like walking in as champion was much more important.
Then the next week you went to London, you went back home to the UK, England, and you defend the championship against Sanada, who is not the same Sanada that we are seeing right now. But
yeah, I don't know if I should take the blame for that. I beat him in his hometown. I beat him in my hometown.
Yes.
And then he joined War Dogs, Wan Woof Woof. So yeah, I don't know if I always had a lot of affection and love for Sanada, but he's with the naughty puppies now.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunate for him.
Yeah, but what I wanted to get to this point is that you got this homecoming reception. Everyone was genuinely happy for you when you were there. I saw that even at the start of the meet and greet sessions, and then when you first unveiled the championship, when you opened your jacket, it was like a roar in the Doncaster Dome, and then at the Crystal Palace venue. So how important is for New Japan to have you as their champion returning home?
I think it was most important to me. I think, obviously I've spent so much of my adult life and career in Japan. This has always been the focus, but I am proud to be a British wrestler, and I'm very fortunate to have the background and to have joined Hamlock when I did, to have learned from the people that I did. And just to be able to have my love for technical wrestling really encouraged and accentuated. It was sometimes I'm not present in the UK very much now, especially living back in Japan. So it was very special to me to be able to share that that moment of winning the belt, to bring it back within the same week. It would have been easy to say that I would challenge at Royal Quest, but I think it was more important to return as champion. But yeah, the meet and greet, there's fans. There were fans there that have been in the crowd for me for some matches since 2007. So it's a joint it's a joint experience. And every time I love wrestling in the UK. Obviously the New Japan schedule is so busy. I would love to wrestle in Britain as much as possible, and I'm always going to be involved with RevPro in some capacity. And I think there is so much more growth that we can have in the UK as far as New Japan's concerned. Obviously Forbidden Door being in London next year is a really big opportunity.
Yes.
But then personally I would like to take Royal Quest. Well, I'd like to first of all rename Royal Quest. I don't have any particular attachment to the monarchy. But I think I would, I'd love to take Royal Quest to different cities in the UK. I think Manchester would be really great. Obviously RevPro do tour around the country, but I think it'd be great to give the northern part of England, or broadly the UK, get up to Scotland.
Or Wales.
Sorry Welsh, I'm not forgetting you either. Somewhere like Cardiff would be incredible. I think there's a lot more. I really think that New Japan, we have so much potential in Asia, but I think we have a lot of potential in Europe as well. I think New Japan sort of transcends language in the sense that that our focus is on the matches. So I think it's something that we can translate quite universally. I think Europe and Asia would be the two areas that I would love for New Japan to focus on moving forward. But it was very in an elongated way to your question. It was a very special moment to bring the championship back. My family were there. My grandmother's passed away, but my granddad was there, and they were coming to my matches when I was 16 years old. So for them to see me as champion was very fulfilling.
That's great, man. Now going fast forward to you main evented in the Tokyo Dome twice in a row, 2 consecutive days. First it was Shota Umino. Many people doubted him, and you guys, I think, delivered in a way that was impressive. You guys had a really fought war till the end, over 40 minutes in the main event. So how do you feel?
I think Shota proved. I think he's much tougher and more resilient than I think a lot of people give him credit for. I mean, we sort of had somewhat of a gentleman's agreement that I wouldn't touch his ankle before, but you know, I prioritised wanting to keep the championship over sportsmanship. But you know, the fact that he was able to get the ropes from the submission, I think it's a testament to, you know, how tough he is. And I think you know, he's going to find himself, you know, in the near future. And I think he, I mean, I have no doubt that he's going to be a world champion in the future. But I think, you know, he's still lost, you know, knowing the wrestler that he is. But you know, it takes time. It's easy for me with a 20-year career to be able to you know, look upon him. But I you know, I was very impressed by him. Yeah, and obviously it was indeed a very long match, but that's a sign of how tough he was. And I also think the pressure, obviously, you know, neither of us had main evented the Tokyo Dome before. I don't know what the statistics are. Is it the first Tokyo Dome in 12 years without one of Okada, Naito and Tanahashi or something like that, right?
Yes.
I think so. So, you know, it was obviously, you know, it was a progression for me, but I've got 20 years and, you know, much more experience. So I think the fact he's 27, 6 or 7 years into his career, to be able to main event the Tokyo Dome, I think he did incredibly well.
And then today you just faced Ricochet for an AEW, so one that you have faced many times on the indie scene some time ago.
Yeah, well, Bryce Remsberg's here. I wish Bryce was the referee, just because then it would have really felt like a Chikara or PWG match, having him there. Yeah, I mean, it's special to be, you know, the first time myself and Ricochet wrestled was in a leisure centre in England, you know, in front of, you know, 100 people or something, and then, you know, subsequently wrestled, you know, in Germany, in other parts of England. The first time I ever went to Australia, I wrestled him twice. We wrestled, you know, different on both coasts of the US, Evolve and PWG. So yeah, it was, and then we crossed over in New Japan for a little bit, but he, you know, I joined New Japan in 2017. He was here for a little bit, but then, you know, he moved on to WWE. So yeah, I think, you know, it's quite rare to be able to have a moment like that with someone that you've got, you know, a lot of wrestling history with, and then yeah, I think he's better than ever. I think you know, we're a similar age, but I mean, he doesn't look like he's slowed down at all. Well, I felt that because I couldn't even get in the fucking ring or take my jacket off. Yeah, I think to be two foreigners to main event the Tokyo Dome is obviously, you know, historic. So it's nice to be able to share that moment with someone that, you know, you've travelled the world with. Yeah. And you didn't stab me with scissors, so so that was a relief.
Yeah, but it was cool what you mentioned before. You only missed Bryce, who was actually in the venue but just watching the show. Because I always remember your matches in Chikara and PWG, so because that got me into indie wrestling over 10 years ago. So that was a cool moment. And also, a funny fact is that I met both Zack and Ricochet in Peru. They both wrestled in South America.
Yeah, wait. Oh, of course. Of course, yeah, I completely forgot. We didn't wrestle each other, but yeah, we both travelled. But that show was amazing, because I went to Chile that same weekend as well. That was like my first time wrestling in South America. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. That building, that atmosphere was incredible. I mean, all of it. I wrestled, so I was still living in America at the time, but I think in 2017 I wrestled in Costa Rica, Peru and Chile and Mexico.
Yes.
On the same, I was like, yeah, the Latin-speaking wrestling world.
Next week you will face once again Hechicero from CMLL in Battle in the Valley, New Japan show in the US. You are still the champion. It's not a title match. Might be a title match, but that depends on the committee, of course. But what are your expectations for that match with Hechicero? And as we were talking about that you have competed in Latin America before, and now that you are the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship champion, would you like to bring the belt over there to Latin America?
100%, yeah. Obviously, I feel Hechicero and I obviously have a different interpretation of technical wrestling, but I think we both have an immense passion for it, and I think it's, I love being in the ring with him because it's a continuous challenge. I would obviously love for our match next week to be an IWGP World title match, but if it's not, then yeah, obviously, I have big ambitions as being champion for as long as possible. Mm-hmm. And as much as I said, previously, that I do want to focus on domestic Japanese defences, like it is a world championship, and I am eager to defend the belt with the partner companies. So as much AEW, New Japan Forbidden Door is going to be in London. Obviously that would be an opportune place to have a title defence. Mm-hmm. But I wrestled in the Arena Mexico for the first time this year. My whole experience with CMLL was remarkable. I think outside, if I was not to be full time in Japan, I would be very content wrestling in Mexico. Mm-hmm. There's just something just ingrained in the culture of Mexico with wrestling. I love that it's kept its roots in a working class entertainment that's affordable for people and completely family friendly. But yeah, obviously Arena Coliseo, to be able to wrestle Hechicero in Coliseo, I feel like Coliseo, Arena Mexico is obviously historic, and I feel very pleased to have wrestled there. But for my style of wrestling, Coliseo is better. It's better. That's the one. So yeah, I think regardless of what happens with myself and Hechicero, I foresee us having a pretty never-ending rivalry. I think there's so many more places that we can get to wrestle.
Thank you for your time, Zack. It's been a pleasure to have you. Do you have any message for your fans?
I got kicks in the head 20 times today, so my Spanish is a little bit rusty. So I wouldn't say my English is particularly good at this point. But thank you everyone for your support. 2025 is going to be very orange indeed. Muchas gracias.
Eso ha sido todo por hoy, amigos. Hasta la próxima.